This episode of the Model 3 Owners Club podcast is brought to you by Duliban Insurance. If you live in Ontario, Canada, and are looking for the best price and coverage on your Tesla, give Duliban a call at 1-855-385-4226 or visit our website at dulibaninsurance.com/Tesla.
All right, Elon.
Yeah, I'm kidding. I don't smoke. I snort.
The after show. The after show. Well, hey everyone. All right, guys.
Now I got a dog.
Oh no! Now you got the dog going.
Oh!
The kids are to the bed, Mike. We're good. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Model 3 Owners Club podcast. I'm your host, Trevor. Sorry, we're just having a little bit of a pre-show laugh with all the boys. Hey guys, welcome to the show. How is everybody doing tonight?
Good evening.
Eric is here. We got Ian and we have Michael Bodner. We got lots of stuff to talk about. Let's just jump into it. You know, Ian, you were just on vacation and you just got back from San Francisco. So tell us all about your awesome vacation in Tesla land.
Well, yes, quite correct. If anyone was following along on Twitter or Facebook, you would have seen some of the story thus far. So let me try and just encapsulate the whole thing in a few minutes. I'm fortunate enough to have a friend who lives down there, Fred Sampson, who was the fellow that took Trevor for a little aerial tour of the factory.
That was fun. I hadn't been flying in a while, and he let me take controls. That was kind of fun. Nice to be able to see San Francisco from the air. So.
Yeah, it was. We actually never did get into the plane this time, but that's because, well, dude, I had a Model 3.
Oh, well.
I'm sorry, Model 3, for people who don't yet own Model 3s.
Here's Ian with the Model 3. There you go.
Yes, there I am. That was day one. I never really left the driveway. I was either in it, driving it, or just staring at it, which got old with Brigitte very quickly, I have to tell you.
Oh, yeah. Poor ladies,
That's it. But once she was in it and we were cruising around, then everything felt just right with the universe. So we were both very pleased.
You guys at the mothership there.
Yeah, that's it. So we'll get to that part of the story in a minute. So
okay. Just
for those of you who are curious, how did I get a Model 3 for traveling? Well, there's a site called Turo, Turo.com, which is basically like Airbnb for cars. Mm-hmm. So you can you basically go and rent people's private cars. And there's a huge variety of them. And almost every major city in the U.S. and Canada, you can find a selection of cars to rent. And anywhere in California, you can get tons of Model 3s. And the deal on it these days is really good. We found one for $78 a day, plus insurance, works out to about $90 a day. And that included unlimited supercharging. They paid for it, as well as the fast track pass, which around San Francisco Bay Area is handy. So any of the tolls and stuff. Yeah, that was all included. And get this, no mileage limit. Usually people don't want you to go too crazy with the mileage. This car was unlimited mileage. I mean, I was in it 24/7 going everywhere. I mean, we piled the miles on. We did close to 1,200 miles with it in 8 days.
Cool.
So, it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, on a number of levels. First of all, Model 3. Second of all, it was fun to really get to know the car prior to getting mine because, obviously there's that anxiety when you're a new owner and you're trying to figure everything out, especially in a car where the controls are a little different. So this really gave me a long time to get used to it. So two things I just want to convey for all of you people who don't yet have the car or only had a few minutes in it like I've had so far is it's very easy to get used to. Don't freak out about the touchscreen. I'm an old school steam gauge guy. And within, I'd say 20 minutes, I was operating the screen, no problem. Now, I'd spent a few hours on the flight reading the manual over again, just to be sure I knew where everything was. But it's very intuitive. With these latest editions, where a lot of controls now are on the scroll wheels, it's super easy to operate. My biggest fear was you'd be driving along and staring at the screen trying to find something. That doesn't happen. The layout is really, really well done. So
yeah, it's come a long way since the software. I mean, when I first saw the car, I guess it was September of last year, basically a year ago. Software was far from finished. And very rudimentary in a lot of ways. I'm like, they're gonna fix this. I mean, it's one of the reasons they weren't too keen on us releasing the video because we knew the software wasn't finished. But I'm glad to see that they're constantly adding things. So yeah, keep going. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, not at all. Valid point. I mean, it has evolved a lot. Just I figured, for all of you out there who don't have the car, these are just little things that I observed. The second thing is, I want to use an expletive so badly, but I know Trevor wants to keep the family rating of the show. So
I can bleep it out in post.
no, I'm going to go with friggin'. This car is just friggin' amazing. And let me qualify that by telling you that I've been into cars since I could pedal them. And they've been my life. I've owned all kinds of them.
With your feet, right? Like the
yeah.
Flintstones?
Both kinds, yes. I've had some old Volkswagens that you could do the other way. In any case, this car has such outstanding dynamics. I think the closest thing I could compare it to was my first generation Miata. I had one of the first ones in Montreal in 1989. And I mean, anyone who's ever driven a first gen Miata, you know this car is basically like wearing a set of wheels. It's really an extraordinary experience on how you sort of instantly bond with the chassis. Like you really feel one with the car. This is the first time in 28 years where I've sensed that exact same feeling. With a bigger car, obviously, that's got a lot more volume and heft to it, but you still feel like your spine is welded to the chassis. Mm-hmm. It's so communicative. It doesn't matter what you do with it. It goes where you point it. I mean, it's an incredible driving.
It really does feel like a go-kart, doesn't it? I had an opportunity to
Very
drive.
Much so.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to drive my buddies this week. There's another shot of the car that you had. And that was my takeaway from it. You know, having spent so much time in the Model X again, and then just jumping in the Model 3, I'm like, this thing is hella fun.
Oh my God. I mean, you know, like I tweeted that out. One morning I got up at like 6 a.m. The entire house was asleep. There was no one on the roads. And I just went flying down I-280, which is one of the roads that sort of links north and south parts of San Francisco. And the nice thing around there is even though they're interstates and they're highways, they're really curvy. They're twisty. I mean, run at speed, man, they're fun. And the steering is so dialed in, the chassis balance. And this is a very early VIN car. The VIN on this car was 937, not 9,000. 900.
Oh, wow. So it's up 1,000.
Is super early car. And I mean, this has got the stiff suspension obviously still on it. And I still found the ride extraordinary. Yeah, Alcantara headliner, baby.
There you go.
Yeah, old school. So yes, it had some of the hallmarks of the early cars. You know, it had the wonky A-pillar and you know, the trim on the doors and so on was a little off. But I mean, you know, I'd look at a lot of the parts of the car and I'd go, people really complaining like about this? I didn't get it.
Well,
I mean,
obviously they haven't seen other cars that are out there.
Or they haven't just spent any time driving the car. Drive the car. It's incredible. Never mind that there's like 2 millimeters of gap at the A-pillar. Are you serious? Drive it. I mean, that's all you need to know. It's an open and shut case. Anyway, I won't go on any more than that. I mean, especially for the two gentlemen in the audience who have the car, they're going, tell us something we don't know.
Well, what about your, you know, because you sent me a bunch of pictures here, and I was just curious of, you know, because you did some supercharging and stuff.
Yeah.
How did that work out for you?
So let's get there. Yeah. The first long trip was on the Wednesday. We took a rent out to the Gigafactory, and God bless my ever patient girlfriend. She says, we're going to drive for 9 hours round trip so you can get a picture of a building.
Here it is. Yeah. There's Ian at the Gigafactory.
That's exactly what we did. And I have to admit, it was like the time I took her to Area 51. It was the same idea. It's like, what are we going to see? We're going to see a sign in the desert?
Cross the line.
The line. Yes. So that applies in both cases. But it was equally cool. This was cooler because at least there was something substantial that you could actually see. You weren't just looking at a sign in the desert saying, cross the line and we'll shoot at you.
Actually, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think it's important to note for people that might be interested in looking at this place is you can't get to the Gigafactory because it's a gated, you know, front gate and so on and so forth. So you had to hike, right? You had to park somewhere and then go up on the hill behind.
But yeah, and thanks, Trevor. I want to reiterate that there are some other access roads. I'm not going to go into detail on it because, and I hate doing this, but I don't really want to encourage anybody to do this. Certainly not en masse. It's private property. We used what was an open road. We didn't do anything sneaky. We just drove up to the limit of that road's access, and then I hiked up a hill to take a picture. But I took it from very far away. I mean, you know, with the lens on the camera and everything, it appears close, but believe me, you're still a good way off. And what's deceiving is the absolute physical size of that building. I mean, this thing is not measured in feet; it's measured like in half.
Yeah. You know what it's like in person. You know, pictures don't never do anything justice. That's for sure.
Exactly. So I mean, you know, obviously it's a free country. You're all welcome to go out there and try and find the access road and take a picture of the building. But please, for my sake and everybody else's, don't interfere with the mission. Don't go traipsing around any closer than you have to. You know, let them focus. Don't hire the security people, whatever. But it was cool being out there. I will say that. And I mean, for anyone, if you get the chance in the area, I'm hoping soon there's going to be widespread tours, open to owners like they've done with Fremont. I know some people have got in on a limited basis. But I look forward to being able to tour there and seeing the insides of it.
So there's a couple of pictures you also sent me that I want to take a couple minutes here and just talk about. So what can you tell us about this?
That, my friends, is a tent. One of the world's largest tents, as it turns out, and they're making Model 3s in it!
Yeah,
Yes.
Ignore the tent. What's important is what's going on inside, according to JB Strobel, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that is GA4, General Assembly Line 4. That's where a good chunk of the performance and dual motor cars are being made. And we were told, and we were told this again on the tour, that apparently the quality of the cars coming out of this assembly are just as good, if not slightly better, than the stuff that's going on inside the building.
Here's a beautiful red performance Model 3.
Indeed. Isn't it resplendent?
Oh, yes. Where's this, in the parking lot at Fremont?
Yeah, that's right outside the store. One of the cool things now is you can book a test drive actually at the Fremont factory store, which is kind of nice. There's a few of them out there in the parking lot. And one of the things I wanted to suggest is if you're going to go for the tour there, which I highly recommend you do, and anyone who's either an owner, a reservation holder, or got an actual physical order in the system right now, any of those three cases, you are eligible to book a tour. You don't have to have your car now. You don't have to be a registered owner.
Oh, really? That's a different change. That's a change in policy, I guess. Wow.
Yeah, because at the time I booked the tour, I didn't even have my order confirmed. I just had a reservation number, and they were like, "No problem. When would you like to come?" About four or 5 weeks out. And so if you want to, you can do that. You're allowed up to 4 people in your party, including yourself. So you and 3 or your friends, whatever, can go. Yeah. And it's super well done. I mean, they really get into it. And the whole time we were going around, like, the energy in the factory right now is incredible. I had a frame of reference because I was very fortunate that someone from Tesla invited me 2 years ago after the tent thing. And I got to go down. And, seeing the S and the X lines at the time was really cool. But it was a totally different vibe. I mean, the intensity of work going on there now is like literally by a factor of 5. Like the forklift traffic and the robots over your heads and the lines. I mean, it's insane what's going on, and people are just going at it. And yet you still sense a positive vibe. I really expected to see people walking around like with this kind of gaunt look in their eyes, just sleep deprived and stuff.
It's funny. It's funny you say that, because when I was there last year and I did a tour of the factory, I'm skipping a spot here. Sorry about that. I guess I was touring the factory during a line stoppage or during a shift break or something, and I kept thinking to myself, well, there's a lot of people in here, but I wonder how they're making 2,000 cars a week because nothing's moving.
Yeah, well, you see that exactly, Trevor. It's a good point. At some points, the lines stop because they have to shift positions or move a few cars from one line to the other. We saw moments like that. But then the coolest thing of all, and this was totally unexpected, is it turns out we were apparently one of the very first groups that got to see, I think it was GA3, the Model 3 assembly line inside. We did. We saw Model 3s being built, like en masse. Not like there's a Model 3. No. We saw long sections of the Model 3 assembly line. We got right up close to it. We saw it from all the different angles and sides. Our guide talked about it extensively and how things had shifted around and how some of the improvements they've already made to the line. That was incredible. I totally did not expect that. And the difference between them, well, anyone who's watched the videos can tell you. I mean, it's a much more hands-on process at a slower pace with the S and the X. The 3 is a much denser line. I mean,
of course.
Closed on all sides. It's got rails top and bottom.
Well, hold on, but don't get too specific here, because you did have to sign an NDA, so you can't be too specific.
Okay, true. But
I will ask you this: was Adam your tour guide?
No, we had Matt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, young fellow. Great fun. I mean,
they're good.
Yeah, they're super psyched, these guys, and they absolutely love the job. But so we actually saw Model 3s like en masse going down the line. That was definitely the highlight of that tour. I'll tell you, that was something else.
Well, before we move on to the other thing, there's one last picture I want you to talk about, because you sent me this, and of course, you're a wheel guy, so you happened to see this Model S sitting in the parking lot. And where was the parking lot? Where was this?
That's outside of Tesla Burlingame.
Oh, in Burlingame. Yes, I remember now.
Exactly. Yes, the kind people that hooked me up with the NEMA 1030 adapter, so I could charge off.
All right. So here's the deal. You can't see much from this picture, but he did send me this.
Yeah.
So talk to us about this. What's this all about?
So this is a Model S P90D that's had a full Porsche carbon ceramic brake conversion. That's pretty over the top, people. I got to tell you, there's some money spent on this car. Oh yeah, and because the carbon ceramic brakes were not enough, and I can't imagine the machining work and everything that went into this conversion. Somebody somewhere has got I'm sure, a thread going on this on one of the forums. But it also has carbon barrel forged line wheels, because of course, if you have carbon brakes, you have to have carbon wheels, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you back out, it's the centers are on these wheels are forged aluminum centers with carbon barrels. They're modular. They're multi-piece wheels. So if you scroll a little back out, I don't know if you can back it out. You'd see the carbon barrel. Yeah.
Without seeing my mug. There you go.
So there you go. So you can see around the perimeter that the barrel section.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's carbon fiber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Zoom in on that stuff. Wow.
Because 2.6 seconds to 60 is not quick enough. We've
is it
another tenth of a second off that? This is the kind of dumbass thing I would do.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, what a great report. Thanks for sending that to us. I mean, there's some really neat stuff out there. And of course, we're just getting started with the Model 3, so it'll be really interesting to see how much people start customizing these cars. So, anyways, it sounded like a really good thing. And of course, there's a lot more pictures he took and stuff. I saw you had an opportunity to go see the Muir Woods, which is one of the highlights I remember from San Francisco last year. And I got to thank my buddy Ryan McCaffrey, who suggested that to me, because when I asked him, I said, I think I've seen all of San Francisco. He says, oh, no, my friend, please go over to Marin County.
Yeah.
And so our next trip, of course, is, the redwoods are great and all, and really nice big trees. But on our next trip, I'm going to try and get down to Sequoia National Park. That's what I want to see, the big uns.
Yeah, no, same thing for us. That's going to be another one to hit up for sure.
Yeah. Well, again, thanks for that report. It's really great. It makes me want to go back to San Francisco. Oh, you're making me sad.
Oh.
All right. Well, you know what? Since you're on the spot, why don't you tell us about the little breaking news that you just discovered? Or it was leaked. I forget. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Performance Model 3 in Quebec now qualifies for the full $8,000 Quebec rebate because of the way that they structured the pricing. Is that right? Yeah,
this kind of totally blew my mind. I mean, people who have been with us listening to the podcast from the beginning, I'm sure would have heard me go on and on and on in the early episodes about
I remember that.
Yeah, because we talked about it. It really didn't seem difficult. It's like, rather than, sell it as rear-wheel drive dual motor model than performance model as it appears on the American website, just create a base model entry and add these things as options, and it would mean any of the cars would qualify. The problem with Quebec and British Columbia is there's a $75,000 cap. In BC, if you go over 75, I don't think you get anything. And in Quebec, it drops the rebate from $8,000 to $3,000. Yeah. And it was one of the real big barriers that I had to swallow when I decided to go to the performance car. But when they dropped the price, I thought, no, I'm still in. I can handle that. I'm okay with it. So I didn't really expect anything. And when I ordered the car, my contract reflected that. And also, the Canadian Design Studio was the same thing. It would show you, if you ordered a Performance Model 3, you were going to get a $3,000 rebate in Quebec. So just as I predicted, of course, all of my contracts and everything, delivery dates, all that stuff came through while I was in San Francisco out of Wi-Fi half the time, freaking out, not knowing what's going on.
First world problems.
Oh, man, I know, seriously. So I get home, and now everything's in line. I had the performance upgrade option added to the car, track mode, have to have track mode. Everything's finally straightened out. I got the paperwork. My final contract arrives in my inbox this morning, and I looked at it, and it now states that I was buying a base Model 3 for $45,600, and it had this whole slew of options, including performance and performance upgrades, which were separate line items. And I thought, hold on a second, this is different. Does this mean it qualifies? I mean, I race over to the Quebec site for the rebates, and it just says Model 3. That's it.
So it's not specific like Ontario was, where it had to be rear-wheel drive only, right?
Exactly. And I mean, they're delivering cars here now. So to me, it's like something would have to be stated if that wasn't the case. And then to double back that up, I went back to the design studio and I built a new Model 3 Performance. And lo and behold, it tells you straight up in the after rebate savings that you will get the full $8,000 credit from the Quebec government. Sweet. And this is because they did exactly what I asked them to do. And please, I in no way imagine or dream that I had anything to do with this.
Oh, come on. I'll give you credit for it.
Oh, thanks, Trev. Okay. Let me live the dream for a moment that someone at Tesla was listening. But yeah, I was completely freaked out because they did it. I mean, they didn't have to do that, but that was an incredible move. Whoever did that at Tesla, all the people who were involved, thank you. You just saved me and anybody else ordering this car in Vancouver and BC $5,000. That is huge, and
that's really good. And I know my friend Jay Pace is also listening, and he tweeted at me today. He says, I remember we had that discussion back in April, whatever. That I thought that they might do something like this, and I said I wasn't too sure. So I was proven wrong. And so there you go. And of course, had the political situation been a little bit different here in Ontario, I would suspect they probably would have done the same thing for us. But of course, the cutoffs and the delivery started right around the same time as our election. So it's encouraging, and I have to kind of go back and just remind everyone that all things being equal, Tesla generally has a reputation of trying to do the right thing for customers. Above all else. I mean, yeah, there's times when communication fails and little things fall through the cracks and so on and so forth. But when it comes to stuff like this, man, you got to give them props. They do the right thing. This is awesome.
It's huge. It was really a huge deal for me, and I was kind of amazed that there didn't seem to be any formal announcement. I thought, Tesla would have emailed all of us who expressed it, or anybody who had a model. It's a great chance for them to get some people to upgrade. And anybody out there who's sitting on the fence in Quebec or BC, hey, guess what? You've got $5,000 that you can now, take to the bank on this purchase. So it's worth considering. Free supercharging until the 16th.
Yeah, we'll dig into that a little bit. Anyways, enough with the Canadian news, because I'm sure there's a lot of people around the world that want to hear other than just about us, navel gazing a little bit. So let's move on. So, right. So there was an article, and, there hasn't been a lot written about it and so on and so forth, but it looks like Tesla has done some changes with the Shanghai Gigafactory situation where they've... and I'm not a financial person. This comes from Inside EVs, of course. It says Tesla increases registered capital big time for Gigafactory 3 in China. So they're saying that the Tesla Gigafactory in Shanghai announced this summer should move to the execution phase as of September 7th. Tesla increased the registered capital of Tesla Shanghai Company Limited from 100 million yuan, which is 16.6 million, to 4.7 billion yuan, which translates to $680 million US. So that's enough to start the work at the Gigafactory, which in total is expected to cost at least $2 billion. They said the facility will produce up to 500,000 cars annually, although I think Tesla or Elon said that initially it'd probably be around 200,000 cars to begin. So, I think it just shows, when it comes to China, China gets, what done. They don't waste a lot of time with red tape and so on and so forth. So this is really encouraging to get this thing going. Any comments before we move on to some other news? I mean, this is pretty short, but I thought I'd just lay it out there that this thing is moving here. No? Okay, no takers.
Well, all I can say is I've been to China a number of times to go on factory inspections, and I'll tell you, when they want to build something or make something happen there, it's lightning speed.
Yeah, I haven't been. My parents were there 2 years ago on a trip, and they did say to me that China is amazing in terms of infrastructure. I mean, they went from, well, I'm not going to call them a third world country, but they went from rural to industrialized like in 25 years. And that's just, that's crazy. I mean, let's face it. What can you buy today that's not made in China anymore? It's very hard to find stuff that's not made.
Teslas?
Well, very soon with the Gigafactory 3, there will be Teslas made in the China or the Asian market in China. So I know that's a question that people have asked me. It says, well, are they going to make the Model Y over there and then we're going to have a Chinese Tesla over here? I said, no, that's not the way things work. They have large import tariffs and taxes and duties and so on and so forth. So that's why Tesla has to make a factory in the Asian country market, in China specifically, to get around those limitations, because it doesn't really make sense. I mean, most of the other manufacturers, if you look at them, other than the odd car and so on and so forth, you're not going to ship things all across the world. They set up shops wherever it kind of makes sense. Here in Canada, we have all of the major manufacturers, all the big three, North American and Toyota and Honda, make cars, and a lot of them go down to the U.S. market. So, if you have if you have one of those cars in the U.S., chances are, check your tag, it might be made in Canada. In Tesla's case, they're going to have to build a Gigafactory/car factory in Europe eventually too. So anyways, a lot has to do with the logistics and interest and so on and so forth. So
The only Gigafactory comment I have is what I read today, which is, and Tesla tweeted this out on their Twitter feed, that the Gigafactory, the original Gigafactory in Nevada, is going to have about 200,000 solar panels on its roof. When all said
I
and
saw
done,
that.
which is astounding. Over 200,000. So think about your neighborhood house that has like 8 panels. So
Yeah.
it's great. It's certainly, you know, it's like throwing a pebble into the ocean. It's making a ripple, but 200,000 is quite a ripple.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a little bit of a long time coming for Tesla to finally get this Gigafactory going, because they did say that they were going to do solar panels and stuff. So it's a start, but they got a long ways to go. This thing is still only, what is it, a third built? So I think once we see Model Y being announced, that we're maybe going to see some more dirt being moved out in the desert fairly soon. So it's encouraging. I like to see that. Any guesses as who's making the solar panels? Self-served, or what do they call that? Self-sourced. There you go. All right, next little bit. Our good friend Eric Strait, who runs the Tesla Inventory YouTube channel, has, you know, he's been doing a few videos and stuff. He got himself a performance Model 3, and he's been doing all these runs. Well, he's had a little bit of help from our friends at T-Sportline, who make some wonderful products, aftermarket products for Tesla, including some really lightweight forged wheels. And he managed to get his performance Model 3 0 to 60 down to 3.13 seconds. I'll run a little bit of the video here so you guys can watch some of the process here, if I can get the darn thing to come up. And it's not behaving for me. Wonderful.
Which, by the way, those of you listening to this in the podcast, you can actually get a link to the video in this video description later on, because visual mediums don't work in audio mediums.
Yes, and it's not coming up for me. I apologize for that. You know, no disrespect to Eric and stuff. I don't mean to steal his videos and stuff on the show, but we'll put a link in the video description and the podcast description. You can watch the video. It's really interesting. I'd be really curious to see what this thing can do once you do a little bit more work on the car, like strip out some of the interior, you know, takes a little bit of weight out. I mean, what's that other one, the Tesla Racing Channel, where they take a P100D, I think it's even a Ludicrous, and they just trounce everybody. But it has a stripped interior, mind you, because they've stripped about 400 pounds out of the car. I'm not saying you can pull 400 pounds out of the Model 3, but wheels make a difference, right? Mm-hmm. I've experienced this personally. Yes. I've experienced this personally. I have the 22-inch forged wheels on my Model X, and people were saying, oh, you're going to lose range, And I'm like, okay, I believe you, but it's not until you actually experience it. Weight matters. That inertia mass that the car has to move makes a difference. Absolutely, without a question. I like them. They look pretty, but they're murder for efficiency. I don't care. So,
well, yeah, Trev, sorry, go ahead, Michael.
I was going to say, you could see the difference from when I had the car with the factory 20s, 2 people in the car and the ground was a little wet, and we were, I think, like 3.77, and 0.6 seconds seems like it's not a lot, but when you're already into the threes, that's a huge difference from what I got with the car.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Michael, when is Jana expecting her car? You got a delivery date yet?
We are 15 days away.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
That's great. Glad to hear that. You guys want to chime in a little bit before we move on to the next bit, or?
Well, I was going to say, Trevor, when you come down, if everything goes according to plan on the 27th.
Next week, baby.
Yeah, 2 weeks, actually. 2 weeks out.
2 weeks.
And, I'm hoping to run some tests with the factory 20s, because those are sold on my car. A gentleman up in Barrie has pledged to take them. That's one of the reasons I was able to get the performance upgrade. But I'd like to get some times. We should film that, and we'll try it with the stock wheels and tires. And then I've got a new setup. I'll give the details on that when we do it. But that's going to drop 10 pounds off per corner, and it's going to bring it down to around a 180 tread wear tire, which is really sticky. So I'm hoping. I don't know if we're going to hit 3 flat, but I'm gunning for it.
We're coming for you, Eric. If you're watching, we're coming for you.
Yeah, in a friendly kind of way.
In a friendly way, yeah. It's all fun and games, right? Until somebody gets hurt. So we're not going to get anybody hurt.
No.
Now, for all your listeners out there who are maybe not part of the M3OC forum, if you have any questions on wheels during this show, I've learned a lot just from listening to Ian. At the end of the podcast, he'll actually give you his Twitter handle. go ahead and ask him questions on Twitter. He
Absolutely
knows everything there is to know about wheels. Again, he's been driving cars for 8 or 9 decades. The guy knows his stuff. So,
What's that, Sonny? I'm sorry. Let me turn up the hearing aid.
get off my lawn. Yeah. Well, in sadder news, some other changes have been happening, of course. Tesla just recently discontinued. There's another D word for you. Anyways, discontinued silver and obsidian black colors from the whole palette of cars. That's S, X, and 3. And the official statement that they've put out is that in order to increase our production, delivery, and service efficiently, we will be removing metallic silver and obsidian metal black. Now, just so you know, obsidian metal black is not the flat black that you get for free in all the cars. It's a special metal flake that's in there. If you haven't seen it, you won't really understand. It's pretty, even though I'm not really a black color person. As far as cars go. Anyways, as paint options from our online vehicle configurators for Model S, X, and 3, this will be effective on Thursday, September 13th, so as of today, 2018, after which metallic silver and obsidian black metallic will be offered only as a limited edition colors via special request at a cost of $2,000 only until Friday, September 21st. So if you're desperate to get either one of these colors in any one of the variations of the car, you have a very tiny window in order to do this. I would suspect, maybe not now, but sometime in the next year or so, that Tesla will probably refresh some of the other colors. Once they get this production ramp of Model 3 kind of sorted out and really ramped up. Because, you know what, in my opinion, all things being equal, Tesla's really due for another color refresh. They haven't really touched the product line in almost 3 years. Still lamenting the loss of titanium silver. That's just me.
Now remember, folks, there also are options to get into an inventory vehicle. So it's possible that the Tesla stores in your market may have a vehicle that matches your design. If you're waiting for a car, maybe you're looking to get into a car soon, you're getting off lease, whatever it is, contact your local Tesla store. Ask them what's in their inventory, see if they have a vehicle in either color. And if there's one that you're looking for, it happens to have the right specs and it comes at the price, go ahead and get the car and you can get delivered within 2 weeks. Yeah, we're really in the midst of a huge push for the end of the third quarter. So if you're really desperate for something, I mean, Tesla will move mountains to try to get you in a car right now. I know this for a fact. They're working really, really hard for this. Of course, there was been some other reports. So Tesla did a little bit of a delivery change recently, a little experiment where they sent out an email to a bunch of people, first day reservation holders, and said, look, if you're waiting for a custom car, why don't you come down? We made a batch of colors, pick something. Maybe we have something on inventory that's ready for you to go. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, everything's pointing to trying to get a smash third quarter. And Elon even tweeted out that it's going to be massive. Now, deliveries are great, production's great. I want to see profitability. That's the thing that's really going to shut a lot of people up, at least for a little while until they find something else to complain about. But yeah,
there'll be an endless supply of those.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, I think I tweeted out somebody today. I said, if the shorts stop complaining about this, they're just going to start complaining about Tesla making too much money on cars. I mean, they always find some kind of excuse to, to pee in the pool, as they say, right? FineLab has a line of protective coatings that were engineered to protect your Tesla's paint, leather, carpet, plastic, and wheels, effectively blocking all those UV rays and environmental factors before they ever get to ruin your brand new baby. FineLab offers a complete line of car care products and ceramic coatings for both the do-it-yourselfer and professional detailers. Did we mention we also have the world's first self-healing coating? Check us out at finelab.com, that's spelled FEYNLAB, to see the science behind the self-healing. Check out our product catalog and click Contact Us for a free quote from a certified installer in your area. FineLab and Tesla, we were meant for each other.
So are any of you shocked that I know silver's actually the least popular
on Model 3.
Color ordered on Model 3, but I think it's a great looking color and it's pretty common on cars in general. I was shocked to see silver go.
Yeah, me too, and I agree with you on that. However, in a lot of ways, you have to understand colors are very fashionable, right? They come in and out of fashion. In the 90s, we had teal and green. That was a popular thing. In the 80s, it was brown, although brown's starting to make a bit of a comeback on the higher-end cars, right? Big comeback, which is why I think they discontinued titanium silver a little too soon, because the premium cars are coming in. But anyways, that is what it is. In the early 2000s, or late 90s, early 2000s, silver was the hot color. Everybody had to have that. Mm-hmm. And I remember a quote from BMW recently, maybe as a handful of years ago, that said that they sell more white cars than any other car color in recent memory, and they largely attributed it to that to Apple's. Because when they started making iPods and phones and stuff with white, and everybody wanted that, although everybody wants gold now. But at the time, that was the game changer. It really changed, people's desires for different colors. Of course, I have plenty of evidence. I mean, I got lots of white cars down the street on my place. I like white personally. So, and that's why I put out a tweet. I kind of told everybody, white is the new silver. It's just fallen out of fashion, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, Midnight Silver Metallic is the
number one
75% of the show. It's 3/4 of the people on the show like Midnight Silver Metallic. Trev is the one weird guy who likes white. I mean, I don't understand. Whatever. He's an outlier. We don't really care. It's a great car. It's a beautiful car. But seriously, get the hell out of here. But I
didn't have a choice. My wife vetoed all the other colors.
Well,
so.
I understand. You live in Canada.
Now we got the truth.
There you go. We blend in.
And you like the titanium silver because you have a cat that's actually not too far from the color. That being said,
maybe
it's interesting when you hear Elon talk about the most popular colors, specifically when it comes to the U.S., are either black or white. And then Trevor and I have had these conversations off air a number of times. So many of the cars, you just drive around town, look at the cars that are on the roads around you. And so many of them are either some shade of white or some shade of black.
Or something in between.
Right, or something between. So it's not surprising that they're going to go through these changes from time to time. It's one of those interesting things that people will hear a color go, wait a minute, no. But it's really about just, again, cost. It's overhead. It's a number of different things. But I'm with you on that. My 1999 2000 era Toyota Camry was silver, essentially the same color, and that was such a mistake. But anyway, no. But it's good to see they're at least thinking of options, and I'm kind of hoping to see what colors come down the pipeline. But there are a lot of people that also wrap their cars. I mean, it's really changes is very easy to make. With all these different various painting options. And we've seen some great photos on social media with people put some really interesting color wraps on their car. One great Model 3 that I saw, and I'm sure many of you might have seen it too if you follow most of us on social media, is there was a chart that came out recently that showed the temperature measurements around the globe over the millennium.
I know which one.
And somebody took that color map and literally had their car decked out from top to bottom with that with a wrap basically having that exact mapping. The car looks great with the wrapping, but then you realize, it's about climate change. Like, it's just an incredible thing to see. But owners are
trying to find that
colors.
picture.
Yeah.
And speaking of wraps, like Tesla, Kim, that stealth wrap on the silver.
You know what? I've seen more of that, and you know what? I'm not one for wraps, but I have seen a few of those recently, and wow, that ever looked cool. Yeah,
that is nice.
Yeah, I've got a picture of this, but it's such low quality. I'm not even going to bother. It's too bad. It was a good picture, though. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. You know what? I'll find it and I'll put it in post. Right.
There you go.
For those of you watching the YouTube channel and stuff, you'll see the picture right now. I'll put it up for you so that you can see exactly what we're talking about. I can't do it live, but because I wasn't prepared for that. If you guys throw me curveballs, it's not going to work.
Bleep it. We'll do it live.
Yeah, exactly. So we talked about the immediate delivery situation. We'll just expound on that just a little bit. So basically, Tesla set out an email. We have a limited number of Model 3 rear-wheel drive vehicles. So again, it's not performance cars. It's not all-wheel drive. Just the first production rear-wheel drive vehicles on display that are available for immediate delivery. Now, it's not nationwide. It's just select markets. As a first-day reservation holder, you're invited to take advantage of this opportunity on a first-come, first-served basis. We will be extending this invitation to additional Model 3 reservation holders on Monday, September 10th. So those of you who didn't take up on that, if they still had inventory left, you probably got an email, and that's what that's all about. And I know this happened because I got one of those, but I didn't take them up on the offer. So, because we're not ready yet. We are waiting for the base Model 3, the fabled $35,000 car, because I think I've said this many times before, for the amount that my wife drives, it does not make sense for us to be buying a $65,000 car just to sit in the garage. So that's why, for those of you who are asking, Trevor, why are you not getting a Model 3? Well, it's going to go to my wife because I got a Model X. Anyways, make a long story short, that's where things are going.
Not to add an article at the last second that you're not prepared for, but Tesla did drop yesterday that the standard range is 8 months away. Saw that on Teslarati.
Wow.
Based on analysts who were kind of in the know, and of course, again, I sort of take that with a grain of salt. Assuming that is the case, we're looking at spring of 2019, which obviously affects taxpayers here in the U.S. and that sort of thing. But that also does not necessarily mean that that's also deliveries in Canada either. So who knows at that point what they mean? But yeah, those analysts are like, well, we think it's 8 months out. I saw the same article you did, Michael, and I was like, I don't
it's
really
a little fuzzy. Yeah, I wouldn't call it fact.
I'll jump in on that one because Matt Obidio, one of the faithful listeners of this show,
hey Matt,
that I communicate with on Twitter all the time, has got a reservation in for a standard range 3, and his window was not long ago showing 5 to 8 months out, and then it got swapped down to 4 to 7, which was encouraging. So his time frame got shortened slightly.
And I can tell you that if you went to the website now and you went to the configurator, you would see a same reflection. But here's the catch: does that mean it's the short standard range battery, but with the premium interior? Like if you're really looking for the $35,000 car, whereas the bare bones skeleton interior, that might be the car that could be 8 months away from production. But if you're looking at the 4 month window, it's because again, that's what they have en masse now with all the different product lines. Is you're probably going to get the smaller battery, but with the same interior that's being shipped in all the cars today. So that might be what people like Matt are looking at. I suspect that's the case, but again, I am not a soothsayer by any means. But I would think that the 8 month, maybe longer window would be for the true $35,000 vehicle in the U.S.
Yeah, it's possible.
Well, the sooner the better, but we're not in a rush, so take your time. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't pay to be first in line. It doesn't really mean anything at the end of the day.
No, I can vouch for that.
For those of you in Australia, we're sorry you're still waiting.
Well, moving along, in other news, for those of you who are in Europe, well, I got some good news for you. Model 3 is coming to the Paris Auto Show. The Model 3 will be on display at the Porte de Versailles from October 4th to 14th. And Tesla is set to feature the Model 3 at the event, together with Model S and Model X, as well as the Powerwall home battery system. Tesla's official page at the 2018 Paris Motor Show's website notes that the event would mark the vehicle's second official appearance in Europe before deliveries begin in the region. This is courtesy of Teslarati. I'll put a link in the video in the show description. If you want, I can read you Tesla's little bit in French, although probably doesn't matter to many people, but here goes. La mission de Tesla est d'accélérer la transition mondiale vers une énergie durable en offrant une gamme complète de véhicules électriques. Anyways, I'm not going to show off. I just wanted to show you that it is there, and I'll put a link to it, and you can read it. But yeah, very, very, very encouraging to see that they're starting to take this thing outside of their normal walls. Because Tesla, when they introduce cars, they always do it at their own event, either in Fremont. Typically, it's always in Hawthorne when they show a new product. And it's actually rather rare for them to go to car shows. I mean, they did the Detroit Auto Show in 2015, and since then they've been pretty quiet. So it's encouraging that they're starting to grow a little bit and really wanted to take this car more to the masses. So very encouraging. So again, if you're in Europe and you're in Paris and you want to check out, which is, other than Geneva Auto Show, the Paris Auto Show is one of the biggest in the world. So I'm very, very happy and encouraged to see Tesla here at that kind of thing. So, yeah, and of course they just showed the Roadster too at the where was that? You guys remember where that was? And I didn't put down a show note here where it was, but anyways, they took the white Roadster, the one that was at the was it at the shareholder meeting that was at there recently? Yeah. So we don't know if it's a rolling mule because it doesn't have a finished interior and stuff, but that white, every time I see it, I'm like, oh man, I gotta get me the white. Anyways, looks really cool. So like I said, it's encouraging that they're starting to spread their wings a little bit and actually attending some of the big wig shows and stuff. I think just probably indicates a little bit that they're starting to grow up a little bit, get going. Okay, another little bit here. Something's changed, of course, with the Tesla referral program. So, so free unlimited charging is ending on September 16th. So you still have a little bit of time until Sunday to place an order for a Performance Model 3. That's the only car that applies for Model 3. Model S or Model X if you want the free lifetime unlimited supercharging. Until after that, Tesla's changing the referral program as far as supercharging is concerned. I'm going to read you some of the salient points here. I'll put a link in the show description if you guys want to see this. But basically, the referral program is going to change. Starting on August 1st, participating owners will be eligible to receive referral awards. 1 to 2 qualifying referrals is either a signature black wall connector, that's the Elon Musk signature one, that's the one I have on my house now, or a Tesla Model S for kids. That's the little electric car made by Radio Flyer. So the first 2 referrals, you can pick either one or both or whatever the case may be, but that's what you get as a referral. For 3 qualifying referrals, you get an early access token to the solar roof. So be one of the first people with a solar roof for early access token for priority scheduling, for roof installation, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, the solar roof thing, I think is the tiles, I think is what they're talking about. Still not happening yet. They're behind on that whole process. So don't know if I would ever use that, but it's there. 4 qualifying referrals gives owners to choose the options between 21-inch arachnid wheels if you have a Model S, or 22-inch turbine wheels if you have a Model X, or 1 week with a Model S or Model X. So you get to experience the car for a whole week unfettered. 5 qualifying referrals gives you an invite to the Tesla Unveiling Invitation. Michael, you got one today, didn't you? You got your 5th today?
I will see you in California at the Model Y.
Nice.
If it's actually the Model Y, but that's what we're looking forward to.
Or pickup truck or whatever it is.
Yeah, something like that. I think it's going to be Model Y. Anyways, so for 5 qualifying referrals, you get the Tesla Unveiling Invitation or a Founders Series Powerwall 2. Your choice.
I think it's and.
Oh, and?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't say others. So you get both. That's awesome. Yeah. The previous referral program where I got some of this stuff, it was actually flipped. So 5 was just the unveiling, and 4 was the Powerwall, and 3 referrals was the wheels. So they've rejiggered it a little bit. But here's the other thing. What they're doing now for supercharging is that they, after September 16th, so, the referral program is going to change on August 1st, but as of September 16th, the free unlimited supercharging is going away, and what they're going to do is they're going to give owners a $100 US or $150 Canadian supercharging credit on your account. So I don't know how much that translates to into actual usage. Might be a few hundred miles. They still haven't talked about the situation, how that affects or if it affects the 400 kilowatt hour yearly allotment that you get for people who didn't buy a referral code.
So you still have it. So
you still have it. Okay.
Right. So if you order a vehicle without a referral code, you're still given 400 kilowatts, which is about 1,000 miles on the vehicle. And here's the intriguing thing about the $100. So depending upon where you live in North America, your costs are going to vary per kilowatt in your state. Here where Michael and I live in Florida, it's 22 cents per kilowatt. So the average person who owns a Tesla will spend between $50 to $100 per year on supercharging costs. So the $100 is towards that high end, which is really nice, but that's almost about the 400 kilowatts you would actually use. So it's nice that they're doing it. I know and by the way, for those of you that do get the $100 credit, that is for as long as you have the car.
Oh, nice.
So it's until it expires. It's like a gift card. Until the credits are out, you actually have the $100. So if you don't even use a supercharger the first year you have the car, you still actually have the $100 come your second year.
Oh, nice. So it doesn't expire. It just kind of rolls into your account. Just
right.
Kind of
so
permanently stays there.
Correct. Once it goes to 0, then you start charging for supercharging.
One other thing I just want to correct on the 5 qualifying referrals, because they say here in the part about the Powerwall 2, wait for Powerwall to become available for installation in an area or take a $7,800 credit. I'm reading the Canadian site, by the way, so these prices are in Canadian dollars here. Or take a $7,800 credit to use towards vehicle accessory service or a new car. Credits are valid from 12 months to the referral delivery date. I want to take just a couple of seconds here and just clarify something when it comes to this $7,800 credit, because I ran into this situation. Now, the laws are different in the U.S. as opposed to Canada. This is what I was told at the end of the day. Because when I got the referral for the Powerwall 2, I thought, well, am I going to use it? Can I sell it? Whatever. It turns out you can't sell it. So I decided to take the $7,800 credit. Now, when I contacted Tesla Corporate directly, they said, yes, no problem. You can use that to buy an extended warranty, which is what I wanted to buy for the Model X to cover me for an additional 4 years, right? Because it's 4 years and 80,000 kilometers. I just wanted the additional. And so corporate said yes, not a problem. And they said go to your service center, which of course for me in Toronto is local to me. And when I talked to them, they said no. And I said, well, what do you mean? And they said, well, no, you can't use it. You can only use it for service or parts. You can't use it to buy warranty. So to make a long story short, I called corporate again, and then they said no. And I said, well, what do you mean no? Well, anyways, to make a long story short, they said, oh, you're in Canada. The laws are different. Yes, you can. So, and I discovered this on my own because while I had hung up with the representative in California or Las Vegas, I forget what it was, the way they called me, I was in the process of trying to get a clarification from Tesla and writing an email to them. So I went onto my Tesla account, and the only way for you to look at how much credit you have in the account, because when I told them I was going to take the credit, they said, yeah, we'll apply it to your account. I can see it in there. I can't. But it wasn't until I actually did the checkout process of actually buying the warranty that I could actually get the pricing, and I could actually see that it says, $7,800 credit minus the warranty equals this. And I was like, oh, I can buy it. So I pressed buy right away. And of course, I got a call from corporate and says, by the way, you're in Canada. The laws are different. You can't. I said, yeah, I just did it. So I'm covered. Just want to let everybody know that if you ever have discussions with Tesla corporate, and when it comes to warranty or these credits or anything referral, make sure you identify yourself as being, European or Canada or U.S., whatever, because sometimes the laws can be a little bit different. So I don't want anybody to suffer some of the confusion that I went through. So just an FYI, a little PSA for everybody.
I would add, I think there's confusion on number 4 as well, the wheels. So I'm a Model 3 owner, and the two prizes are for Model S wheels or Model X wheels. If you look at the fine print, it says you get the wheels that match the car you have. You can't just say, I'll take the X wheels if you have an S.
No, that's entirely true, and I know this
so I don't know what happens to me.
Well, it's because the bolt patterns are different between the S and the X.
Right.
So, and
no,
originally...
the X is the same, Trev. It's the 3 that's different. But the sizing for the S's and the X is different. You've got staggered 20s or staggered 22s on the X, and you've got 19s or 21s on the S.
Turns out, yeah, okay. So it turns out I always like the turbines. I like the look of the arachnids. I asked around, and they said no, you can only get the 22-inch turbines because the Model X is a staggered setup. So whatever. That's the
not only that, but you need a much higher load rating on the Model X.
Yeah, you can't fool around with these tires.
You cannot.
And I don't know how much longer these Pirellis are going to last, even though I don't drive like a madman. But yeah, they're not designed for longevity. That's for sure. Anyhow, so that's what's going on with the referral program. And hey, I'm going to put a little plug out there. I'm the author of this show, so if you want, use my referral code. It's Trevor41818. I really appreciate that. All it does is helps you as the owner or the buyer, whatever, of the car, getting into the referral program, getting you, some benefits that ways. And all it does for this lonely guy here is maybe a slight chance of maybe getting a chance at the Roadster. So we'll see.
It helps all of us because you're going to do a road show.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the plan, right? And I'm not the first person to suggest this, but if we do end up getting the Roadster, the least I could do is actually take it around on a tour and show everybody and get everybody a chance to check out this car because,
yes, it's the very least you should do.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about a car here that's not going to be made at 500,000 cars a year. It's an expensive car, right? It's a little more bespoke and so on and so forth. So not a lot of people will be able to get a chance to see this car. So I thought, it's the least I could do. And besides, Supercharging's free. It's included. And yeah, it'll be fun. It gives my wife and I a chance to do a little bit of a road trip.
And as we discovered today, the Roadster will not have handles.
Yeah. So I had someone contact me just on the side, or whatever you want to call it. And they told me that the Roadster is their 4th attempt at doing something different with door handles. Now, we've talked about this on the show before. Tesla's always done something different with door handles on the car. The Model S has got the self-presenting door handles. Model X has the buttons, although it's more complicated because now they have to actuate the doors. Model 3 has, the hockey stick, as I call it. So as it turns out, the Roadster doesn't have door handles at all. Apparently, it's going to be some kind of gesture, so a little proximity gesture or something like that. Of course, you'll be able to do it from the phone app, of course. But apparently it's some kind of proximity gesture. You wave your hand over an area on the door, whatever, and it will unlock. So again, Tesla innovating, trying something a little different, for better or for worse. So anywho, I think that's pretty. Is there anything else you guys want to add into the show before we do the last little bit here before we sign off for the evening?
Did we cover the? If I'm not, unless I didn't hear it, did we not cover the increased price for the all-wheel drive?
Oh, good point.
Yeah,
No,
good point. Yeah, I kind of skipped past that. It was another line item. So, yes, let's talk about that. So, yes, unfortunately, there's been yet another price increase on the Model 3. So, if you're looking at all-wheel drive to order today, add another $1,000 to that price. It went from, what was it, 5 to 4 and then back to 5, or is it 55 now? Anyways, bottom line, another $1,000, folks. Cough up. You know, ever-increasing prices, just like Apple products.
I will tell you, having just come fresh off the rear-wheel drive 3, if this legitimately chops another half a second off the 0 to 60, that's a pretty solid performance increase for the money. Not to mention the extra traction you're getting with the motor up front. So at that price point, even with the extra fee on it, that's still a pretty good bargain what you're getting in terms of increased traction and performance capability.
Thank you for reminding me. I've got the slowest Model 3 in my household now.
True.
I will say this is kind of a neat statistic to think about, but the progress on the car, I've got a sub 6,000 VIN from February delivery. My wife's over 101,000.
Yeah, look at the difference.
Yeah, just 5 months later. I mean,
5 months later.
amazing.
Isn't it? It's amazing, right? And they said Tesla couldn't do it. They can't ramp. They can't deliver on time. Well, they're a little late, but they do deliver.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Ian, your VIN's over 100,000 now, isn't it?
Yeah, my new VIN with the performance upgrade got bumped just by 900, which was pretty incredible. They managed to turn around quickly. So I'm 107. And
wow, we don't need the exact number, but it's over 100,000.
Yeah.
107 XXX.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
I mean, he went from driving in California a sub 1,000 VIN to now going, how many numbers is this one? All right, thanks so much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, that's what you need to do, Ian, when you get your car. Did you take a picture of the VIN of the car that you were in, or not?
I did not, and that's stupid because I spend my life data logging cars. The one thing it didn't occur to me to do is to take a picture of the placard.
You got to go back.
Have to go back. Yes,
yeah,
you're right.
Because that'd make an awesome tweet, right? Before and after.
Yeah,
that'd make an awesome tweet.
Yeah, very true.
Speaking of which, we're going to sign off here very soon. I just want to put out a little something. I've been working on a series of tutorial videos for the Model 3 for the last month and a bit. And I have 15 videos ready to go, and they are going to drop tomorrow, Friday, at 12 noon Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see these 15 videos that I've been producing over the last little bit. I hope you really like them. I think they feel a need that's a little bit lacking. I mean, the Tesla videos are all great and so on and so forth, but when I saw them, I thought, these need to be filled out a little bit more. So I've done my own series of videos on these. I'm very happy. It's so far I'm going to call it my magnum opus, although, things can always change. Encourage you to make sure you check out the videos. Again, they're not really geared for current owners. There might be some stuff that you might have missed that you might learn. It's more for the new owners who don't have a lot of time at the delivery experience, or a delivery specialist don't have a lot of time to go for that stuff. For people who haven't seen a Model 3 before, who want to learn more about the stuff, maybe for some of the European market, although some of the stuff I cover on there, things like charging and so on and so forth, that's more for the North American market. So, don't complain, don't get mad. It's just the way it is. If you see anything that you want to know that I might have missed, I try to cover all of the bases that I thought were fairly obvious. But obviously on social media, I get a lot of questions about Model 3. That's like, I feel like I'm repeating myself all the time. So I thought I would do a series of videos that really go into depth and talk about the features that you need to do. These videos are fairly fast-paced, so they're all less than 2 minutes long. They cover all the salient points on there. Again, it's YouTube. If you miss something, just pause it, come back, rewind, whatever the case may be. They're very short, they're very clear, they're very to the point. So once again, if there's something that I might have missed or you would like to see more into depth, let me know. You know where to get at me. You can tweet at me. You can check me out on the forum or whatever the case may be. And I have enough footage to cover just about every angle of the car if there's something that you're desperate. So I highly encourage you. I mean, I didn't turn on commenting on the videos because I wanted to be educational and not conversational. That's not the point. So again, like I said, if you see something if there's something that you would like to see, just reach out and I'll see what I can do. Anyhow, for that, I'll just leave it like that. Guys, we'll just sign off for tonight. Ian, where can people find you on the internet?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Ian Pavelko. The nickname is Mad Hungarian. On Model 3 Owners Club Forum, you'll find me with the handle Mad Hungarian again. And if anyone is interested in my new line of Evolveware, we have, voila, here's a sample mug.
Weapon of mass adoption. I love it.
That's the one. It's not really focusing on that, but you get the idea.
That's okay.
But yeah, the WMA series.
There you go.
So this is available as a shirt and a mug at teespring.com. Just look up Mad Hungarian or Evolveware, and you will find your way to my site. And that's about it.
We will wear those shirts when we do your video.
Yes. Assuming they get here eventually. The U.S. Postal Service lost them, so now I got to have them rerouted.
I heard all about that. Michael, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Tuslatunity, on the Model 3 Owners Club, SOFA on Model 3. And I just want to say, Trev gave us a sneak peek at the videos. They are truly fantastic.
Well, thank you.
They are professional quality. Check them out when they drop.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And last but not least, Mr. Eric, where are you?
I'm right here.
There you are. So where can people find you on the internet?
So before I get to that, I want to say that right now, as we're taping this, Hurricane Florence is battering the Mid-Atlantic states, specifically North Carolina. So from all of us to you guys, if you're followers of our channels, if you're into our programming, we hope all of you remain safe, that your loved ones remain safe, and that you guys can weather the storm safe and sound. If you want to find me on Twitter, you can find me at the handle ECFix. That's ECFIX on Twitter. And to our Patreon supporters and to all of our sponsors, thank you so much for making the show. We enjoy making it. We hope you enjoy listening to it. So thanks.
As usual, thank you very much for joining us in as usual. You can find me on the internet. My Twitter handle is at Model 3 Owners, and please check out the forum. It's absolutely the best place on the internet to talk about the Model 3. You can find that at model3ownersclub.com. If you like the show, and again, as Eric mentioned, we have a Patreon campaign going on. If you'd like to support, it doesn't take much, maybe $1 a month or whatever. You can check that out. That's at Patreon. That's patreon.com/Model 3 Owners Club. And with that, we'll let you go, and we'll talk to you, and we'll see you. And thanks for listening and watching wherever you happen to be. We'll catch you on the next one. Good night.
Goodbye, everybody.
Good night.